Hello and welcome, as it is now the 16th day of October 2020. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel, where, like always, all bets, trades, and of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. Let's take a look at silver in this video and start off within the hourly term time frame and then move within the later hours thereafter that. All right then, so we come from this high on October the 12th with price action getting to almost 26, but north of 25 US fiat, and then since then it's been making lower highs and lower lows. Okay, the last key high here, which is the 9 a.m. one, well, still hasn't got above it yet. However, it's an interesting situation as I look at it anyway. The breakdown here, 8 a.m., you come down and you establish this level of support here. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, a few periods here going sideways of like no volatility. Of course, this was when the day ended, but even not necessarily, yeah, sort of 1,500 hours to 20, but just not doing much. And then, okay, comes back down, retested again, and then back up to the 18. And here's a failed breakout that happens at 7 o'clock. But at that time, twice that area was support established at around 2403, which is a little above this key Fibonacci line of 2394. Okay, well, but whether it's Fibonacci or not, the bottom line that it had key support at this is what was very, very important. So after this failed breakout, not successfully correcting within the 18, breaking down below it, then resisting within the newly declining, and then as we see it, October 15th, 4 a.m. stamp. This is where things get to very bearish levels. As I look at the setup here, 5 a.m. into this 8 a.m., that's looking like this thing is ready to break down. Oftentimes from a failed move in one direction comes fast moves opposite. Why didn't this thing break down? Question mark, because it still can, but it hasn't. It really looked like it was going to here this morning as it was breaking down. But as it got up towards this, and here it comes to the 18, it gets above, and it's been spending the whole time after. But because it barely got below it, but noticeably did, after having the two double test level here, that's why I say it's very big. Like, that was where it was supposed to break down and really come and test some of these lower areas, at least make a stab down to the 23 low change mark or the October lows. But if this thing doesn't do that, I can still resist this, make a lower high to this key one in here. You start to see this breaking down. If this is showing weakness at the low 24 is breaking down 24, yeah, this bearish setup that was looking in play in October 50, or well, I guess you can call it yesterday morning or Thursday morning, will be live again. However, if what we see in here, it's starting to go higher, then this shows me the normality. When these things have big moves, you have this like common failed bit before it goes down, and this is that common failed bit in here. If, of course, it works out towards that situation. Okay. Now, shorter term, we can see that the levels, I'm not going to go to short-term charts, but 24.45 up to 24.55 is big levels of resistance, with support at about 24.34, 3 cents lower than the action price at 11:43 p.m. Eastern Time, October 15th. Okay, that's the time as I'm doing it now, but it's October 16th Eastern Time. Oh, yeah, when this video is uploaded. On the 4-hour term, what we are seeing is that within such, this big line here was support on September the 21st, almost 1 month back. It was so twice again, and then the breaks down and, well, chopping around, being congesting within it, yes, but from September the 28th through that of, like, really out in here, October the 8th, it was level of resistance. The Fibonacci line at 2394. Now, at least for 2 occasions so far, it's been holding off of that as support. What I'd like to see was something like this, when you have a spot where you have this high like you do here, you have this level of resistance, multiple hit near about 24.5, is for it to hold and stay above that for a significant period of time. Maybe even find support at 24.29, 24.25, but maybe resist like 24.80 or something. But just hold in this general area for maybe more than like half a day, 3/4 of a day, full day. If it does that from where this plays through, that's just continuing to will increase the setup situation to be very strong. And at any point, if this has what I like to call exitation of the 18, and you can say it's close only because it's near the 18 highs, but you start to see this, okay, clearly firmly above it, like 24.75. I mean, it could easily resist this area, and we're going to have to try to hope to find support above this high, pretty much at the 18 lows or higher, when it comes down. But when you do see it breaking out above it, 24.75, quickly thereafter that we could be talking 25.75 or 26 or 27. Because if we do support this area like we are, support where resistance was in what has been a phenomenal uptrend, then the likelihood that I would deem this, or I would think this to be that of weak resistance, or thus might not be resistance, or won't be much at all if there is, meaning it doesn't pull back much, congested at time. Nothing that can make you any advantage but really by selling at the high and buying cheaper, because it just wouldn't be available in those situations. Now, in the daily term time frame, this is where it will be one of those interesting, okay, are we resisting or are we supporting amongst this key Fibonacci level? Because within such, this is a 23.6% Fibonacci correction from the March lows near about a little under 12 spot price. And or the market price, of course, within such, and then here at 30, close to. So 23.6% down has basically been congestion. If you start to see this leave above this, get above the high, 26 low change, and yeah, it looks like to me as if we would be talking about making another stab from where we were before, which is between 26.75 and 29 high change. And I'd be saying, yep, we supported with this level comes in. And then if we don't and we start to fall, yep, we really congested resistance at this level. But the next key target, we've already been partially there through, would most likely be a pierce going lower than the $20.86 mark, pretty much down to about 20 flat even, I would suppose would be the next key target level. If, of course, this thing starts to falter. And amongst this 18 average, if I see it breaking down below, falling at around 23. This would be telling me that this is a good chance that this is resistance and that we would most have a good likelihood of playing out towards the target. On the weekly term time frame in correctionary mode, as a phenomenal break, and way back when, this is when it was at the previous lows before the 11, when it was at 14. All these fantastic buying opportunities, and I did take advantage of a lot of it during this time frame. And well, here we have a situation where we get above this level of resistance, and okay, well, let's see how this move does. And of course, it's been a phenomenal one thus far. There's this correctionary phase within the 18, holding and staying. You can see when it breaks it above it. After you have that move, you have a great phenomenal rally, successful correctionary move, and then you have exitation on correctionary move. Oh, that was a spot where it didn't happen. Well, there's many reasons for that. What was the reason for that? Well, that was because of the COVID-19 situation, but from failed move, fast moves. Also, not every single time a situation looks good is it going to be eventually coming into play. Because a lot of people would have been shaken out and all that spots, and that's what happens. And then when you try to buy down on this situation in here, the prices didn't become all that glorious overall, because here we are, prices down to $13.50, and then you see the premiums were getting out of hand. But buying at those premium prices, obviously with current levels now, have been the same situation. And there's your sit showing, okay, so the selling was a failed move with major resistance established, and there was, of course, that breakout. And then now the move that was looking like here just got a little bit delayed. So now we're again in that correctionary move, and it's been that of what's I believe a very long upcoming move that has been in play for quite some, that I think has been needed for quite some time. After all, Within this, I don't know why my log button was turned off from before. But we can see in here, move from point A low, which is the lows before I was born, and then highs when I was barely that. Well, it was just pretty much a little kid in here. And then it's successful correctionary move. You break out from correctionary move, you go to previous high. You have a smaller correction from before, both in time and in price. And normally when you go through the pattern recognition, what happens when it goes up here is extremely very weak resistance, as I've been talking about for quite some time. It first attempted to resume this uptrend back in like 2016. Obviously, it overall successful correction, but it failed to do so. Chance to break down in here, it failed. Chance to break down here, failed. Another chance to break out here, of course. I mean, it did up here before this move, but overall, you can almost say if this didn't happen, you could have just had a bunch more of these sideways candles and same sort of deal. But regardless of the fact, the first clear breakout we've had above the 18 average of highs on the monthly time frame from a market that has been in a down/sideways market for quite some time, and quite some time. Given this one, rate of ascent not so great, rate of ascent here not so great, rate of ascent here really the minimum or close to it, to what I'd be looking to. Well, this really wasn't a downtrend. We were up. It did go down, but really this is just sideways consolidation for what it's worth, because this is where it held and stayed above the 18 average of lows. And that when I say and define that and such, you go below it, polar opposite of course with the highs, but you go below the 18 average of lows, and then you establish a low at some point reasonably not far below, and it can be within good volume like this, but how quickly do you go back up to the 18? Okay, not so bad. Okay, can you hold and stay within? It's okay to break below again, but again, you got to hold and stay within what you supported. Didn't even break down below it, so successful job in holding and staying below it. So this was not a declining or neutral type market. So it was able to have an up move, sideways correction, and then final part of its up move. So the last time at which it had any type of convincing move would have been right back at these lows in here. Because before this, it had, well, really even here it had a little bit of move, but just this long sideways consolidation. Look how long this really was. Like 1993 or so it looks like. And then it just goes sideways for a decade, and then it breaks out. Yada yada. Well, I mean, that's just how long and how wicked this price movement action was. And well, when I look at so many other markets that continuously just go up for 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 years, and that's because, of course, of fiat currencies and the obviousness and how they're created and such. And for me to actually state, since this point 1980, the price action is down like 50% against the US dollar. Okay, and even then when you look at, okay, well, maybe fair price should have been maybe 15, 16. Okay, well, fair price back then should have been 15 or 16, 40 years ago. Then what should the price point be today? And I believe, of course, that it should be, and in time will be, significantly higher. Hence the reason, of course, why this is my number one, the largest asset class that I hold in, right now, value in fiat currency. And I'll just continue to just wait for the moments to go through for what I truly do believe will be a large phenomenal breakout. And it's interesting because, yes, the point, I can say questions like, say when silver goes way up here, how much will something be worth? Something else, that is. So you got like, okay, so silver goes up to like, say, 2,500, 3,000 or whatever. Oh, how much would say something, or even say 2,500 just for even easier math. How much would something else like a loaf of bread be worth? Or how much would it cost? Well, if the price of silver would go up 100 times, then maybe 10 times higher, 7 times higher, 40 times higher, 80 times higher, 12 times. There's going to be a lot of things and many different things. Food is going to be very volatile and expensive and high in inflation, I think, as well, but many things that will underperform the price in silver, that a lot of things could even feel like you're living in deflation if you have a large holding in silver when we go through early stages of what would be hyperinflation. And that would be, oh my goodness, product A, B, C, or D, thing, a service or whatever that you would buy before is now double, triple in price. And yet you see the portfolio in your gold and silver, especially in silver, go much, much higher, that it's like, okay, yeah, I'm paying double for this price, but with silver at like 250 or 300 or 500, as the price goes higher, I'm actually getting it for much cheaper than not only where I bought it at, but then even higher than it was, much cheaper than back when it was breaking out at 70, 80, 90, just all of these amazing deals that you'd be getting. But yeah, anyway, big successful breakout is what I think is going to occur. If it will, then this is a failed breakout, because any time that you see the market have a move above the 18 highs like this, after it's been consolidating and in a downtrend, it gets above more recent highs, 18 highs extends like it is, and that move fails, you get fast moves in the opposite direction more times than not. It did not happen on this failed breakout. It kind of did on this one, though, because this did go down to 11. But on this one here, it did not happen. So therefore, 18 average is starting to rise. I think this is a perfect time frame to analyze this move, in that to be a real move, failed move. Because what I like to have is when, again, you have this down, sideways, stuff like that, the 18 starting to rise. I like the price action to rise above and towards where the area of previous resistance is. And I can see that's in the area of about $18 up to 21. And now the 18 average of lows is at 1781-ish or so. So therefore, if this is going to come back down, then this is where I'm going to want to see its a hold on that level. But as it goes right now, it's anybody's guess to me whether we have our next move come down to here or way up to here, which to me, journey and destination. The destination to me is pretty much a foregone conclusion. Which routes you take if we turn left here, if we take a pit stop at McDonald's there? No, we're going to Burger King instead. Okay, well, we're still going there. Yippers. That's, to me, all that's important. McDonald's nor Burger King actually advertise for any promotions on this video. All right, then. So, final thing I'm going to say again. I say this all the time, yada, yada, and I haven't said it for a while. If you were ever given a situation where you were forced to put asset savings into a safe for a fixed period of time, 2 years, 5 years kind of deal, and you could only choose one, which would you choose? You could put fiat currency in there. You put your 50s, your $100 bills, your $20 bills. I mean, if you get millions, whatever value you're doing, it's the same either way. But yeah, put that in there. They'll still be there in 5 years, 2 years. They'll still be there. Or you could put in gold or silver. You can put in cryptocurrency, private keys, funded. And of course, 2 years, 5 years, whatever, those whatever amount of Bitcoin or whichever coins you choose would still be there. Well, to me, it'd only be, gold, honorable mention. Silver most certainly would be that one, because I don't want to take any chances that would be dumb. I know with Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, I could easily overperform big time that of silver, even with silver doing very phenomenal, because crypto is a big, wild, volatile situation, which makes it an amazing one for anyone who I believe is in need of having it. And I will say that in the means of that as, well, Bitcoins, because silvers and gold is just more expensive in this case, and it should be heavily, to me, owned for almost anyone in their investing portfolio. But if you don't believe in cryptocurrencies, have you ever been wrong with things in your life before? And were you believing Bitcoin before it was $2, $5, $20, and $100 and all such, saying no? Well, if you don't believe in it, you own a little bit, and if it works out and you're wrong, well, at least you got it. And the beauty part of it is when I talk to, if anyone was to talk to me about like investing and allocation percentages, how much would you need to put in of such? I think you need to put more into gold and silver. But as far as cryptocurrencies, you don't need to put much into that because you can get 4, 5, 10, 20, 100x gains like it's no tomorrow, especially when and I think it's very important to do so, dip into some altcoins. And amongst a diverse portfolio, if I was, say, an owner of a business or store, I'm looking at my asset classes. Okay, I'm going to invest into everything. I need fiat currencies, I need gold, I need silver, and I need precious metals. And if I'm in any type of business, I think to myself, how could I incorporate any of those into my business? For example, let's just assume I was a site that, like a gambling type of site, given just that's what I do, and I can call it my passion. Where you have an account balance like your Poker Stars or any of those types of natures. I would like to allow people to have whichever currency they want to choose. As far as, and the options would be very much a lot of them. As many fiat currencies as they could offer, which would be, of course, the US dollar, the euro, and then, well, depending on, of course, where people are from, like the Aussie dollar and Canadian dollar, that's, of course, based on population, but fiat currencies, gold, silver, and then Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies. And I want to make my own cryptocurrency coin. Could it ever be, how could I strategically make it? Would be questions I'd be thinking within my business. And then how could I strategically even make gold and silver? I'd be thinking to myself, okay, if I had a business like this, I could make my own gold and silver coins. And I want to go through another idea what actually I'm talking about too after this within gold and silver. But make my own gold and silver coins, my 1 ounce, 10 ounce, all that type of stuff, quarter ounces, bars, rounds. And I can have my logo, all that type of stuff on there. I could use it as definite deposits and withdrawals. And of course, if you put a price on it, maybe it costs you 1.15 ounces of silver to buy that, just showing you as a 15% rake, or that's just premium to buy it. And it's just a way I can get into selling the gold and silver. But of course, if I'm going to be investing it as a business, a lot of those coins they'd be in my vaults, basically. That is one of the ideas. And of course, as a business, I'd have to play around with those market game ideas, fluctuate my markets when people move their currencies around back and forth as well. In fact, there was a time back on Poker Stars, I was just trading currencies on there because they allowed like the euro, the Canadian dollar, the British pound, and the United States dollar. And I literally traded all 4 of those currencies on there because there was no rake in trading. That was way back in the day, like 8 years ago or 7 years ago, but not anymore. So one idea I thought which would be really cool, and I think with licensing costs, it probably would not work. But I mean, that's just because it'd be so expensive within like whatever sport, baseball, football, hockey, basketball. But if you can get past the licensing cost and mathematically find a way to work, I know if the product was out there, it would sell well. And the product would be where something in the area where you get like a plaque, something, I don't know, there's something about the size of I go by centimeters, maybe by 20 centimeters by about 10, 15, or 12 centimeters by 20 or so. And inside of it, you would have a coin, maybe a small little card, and just a little bit of miscellaneous whatever other stuff. But it's either going to be an ounce of silver or an ounce of gold. It would have a picture of the baseball, hockey, basketball player, or whatever, maybe a card within the player. And the fun part about this would be is you're either going to get an ounce of gold or an ounce of silver. They'd be numbered. For every 100 ounces of silver, there'd be an ounce of gold. Something around that ratio. So then it'd be almost like gambling. So you buy it. How much would it cost? Well, if I have 100 ounces of silver, that would be $2,440, and gold's about $2,000. So I'd have like $4,500 within 100. So that'd be about an average of $45 per 100. And of course, it would sell for much more than that on the premium you'd be offering here. And then the value of what player you get. Big difference if you're getting like one of the top rated players in the board of like 20 or 30 players you might have, 50 players, compared to the more common or bottom end ones. So, and then you get gold or silver where, just a little bit of cool idea, I thought. you get a few communities that would come in that would be interested in this. Of course, your gold, silver, collector item, normal, but mainly gold and silver community people of that nature would be interested in such. And then your sports, miscellaneous collector, and of course, baseball and whatever hockey cards you're talking about for the sport. They could be interested in such an idea as well too. So that is something that I thought of as well. Just a lot of good ideas. Even earlier, actually, for just thinking, I thought of an amazing novel that I could write on. Like, it was like very much a really, really sick suspense novel based on the current situation of BLM and protests that would go on. Probably not going to do it though. But if I don't, I'll explain that maybe later on. What the story would be, but I thought, oh man, that would be like really like Stephen Kingish like. But yeah, just miscellaneous other things that are a little off topic as it is. And let me just take a quick look at the gold to silver ratio, and I haven't even looked at that in a while. Gold's. Alrighty. Well, this is where you hold and stay above this level of support because it establishes the level of support, or established first. It's established, easy to say. It established support of 69.6 this early part of August. And it spent the vast majority of its time holding and not even close to this level of support, but it stayed above this level of support. So technically, because of this rise in here, it kind of did hold and stay above this line, even though, again, the vast majority of its time was below it. So then we have, we have point A high, all these lows within the high, another high here, another high here, kind of one here, which is now this one as well matched. So this high matches this. Overall, it's going to be this high to whatever this high happens to be. So even though you can make higher highs, a lot of it you can do Fibonacci from this low to this high to go through things because you establish this level, and you go through correctionary phase if you get above the 18 highs. Then you're talking about making a move to and probably breaking this level of resistance, which would then, of course, most likely take you, to a pierce above the 90 2/3 level. But it's, just a sick capitulation style breakdown when it broke down below this level in here. No, not finding any support, now resisting where it's supported in here. And the overall move in this part in here is the attempt to revert the trend from point A low in 2011 to this high. For the second time, it has made it below the 18 average of lows. It made so the first time back down in here, the first time more aggressively amongst this situation. Last time it got below that when it had its first correctionary phase. It never really had any breakdown opportunities. It then starting here from this point on for a long period of that continued to show strength amongst the 18 highs, or slowly going higher for just one large leg up. So now we're had a little bit of resistance amongst this in here. 18 average of highs comes in at 96.2, but it's declining nicely to the point where you can almost say 90 or so. Again, this is a spot where we've had a move from this high to this low, clearly breaking down below this. And then we come up and you have a little bit of move. So we've had something. So whether it hits this, whatever, I know because I've seen this on the shorter term, just a phenomenal move. Either this is a failed breakout, and if I see weakness down, breaking below here, then I'm going to expect this to go way down. But if I see this going above here, 81.50, okay, probably would go higher, which in showing here on the monthly, well, anything up to this 18 average of highs in here, we're still going to be okay. We'll wait and see, because can this still hold on the 18 lows? We'll see. But long term, I've said this before many times, my belief is that this is going to be going significantly much lower, hence the ratio, my ratio. And Mike Maloney talked about his being so big. Mine's even bigger than his. For that of gold to silver, I'm trying to think of that number back in my head. I'm just going to do some math. 800, 700 to 1. I just recently bought some more. But yeah, literally for every 1 ounce of gold, I got 700 ounces of silver to 800. So 700 and something, because I'm a bigger believer in that of gold over that. Excuse me, silver rather, that of gold. But yeah, we'll wait and see how long things go, because I mean, if you just look at this, you look at all of these moves in here of low volatility. Well, volatility took us to another gear, another level, February of this year. And with the current situation and everything, it wouldn't be a surprise if we go too, if we could, I would expect big moves to continue on going forward. Yes, we could maybe go through a 2, 4, 6 month period where things slow down a little bit, but I think that's the most that it's going to be. What I'm hoping for, and I mean, it's probably not going to happen this way. If it does, whatever, but I'm hoping that silver does take its sweet little time to break out, but cryptocurrencies don't. This way I can see the ratios of cryptos to silver work accordingly, and I would do the necessary adjustments within such, and those necessary adjustments is turning cryptos into silver. Thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.